So, today I have something very special for you that can only be found in the most secluded Silesian woodlands. The hunting grounds. You're familiar with the hunting grounds. You spent a summer there, the year of your 10th birthday, so your grandparents could toughen you up, but it only ended up proving to them that you can't take care of yourself. You're familiar with family bonding, right? Bad and off-topic jokes aside, Hunting Grounds is a lovely little two-man enchantment from Judgment that can clearly pack a punch of power. Anything that gives you free things and allows you to quickly recover from wraths will. Since this enchantment can cheat in some massive creatures such as, let's say, the Impervious Great Worm. Ooh, a 16/16? Nothing's more delicious than that. Hunting Grounds is clearly powerful. So what I've really got to convince you to show you that this card is good is that its problems are very small. So let's start with that pesky little word in front of the card's text. Threshold is an old keyword ability that just means you need 7 or more cards in your graveyard. It's Formidable's second cousin with homicidal tendencies. Now, 7 cards is, I can't stress this enough, not a lot. That means the only thing standing between you and the Impervious Great Worm is a Farseek and a Golgari Grave Troll. Now, if you're wondering why I bring up the Impervious Great Worm again, it could very much be that I can't think of a more powerful creature than a 16/16 without trample. Or it could be that because we've been dating for the past 3 months and they're getting angry that I don't tell people about our relationship, but who's to say which one's correct? I don't think I'm empowered to. Either way, getting 7 cards in your graveyard isn't just easy. In many Commander games, between removal, wraths, instants, and sorceries, incidental sacrifice, it's an inevitability. But that doesn't mean there aren't some small changes you can make to help that along a bit. In green, there are a lot of ways to interact with lands in your graveyard that also get you extra value or actively get cards into your graveyard. They also come in sorceries like Life from the Loam, enchantments like the Mending of Dominaria, and creatures like World Shaper or Sound the Trumpets! The Knight of the Reliquary. Cards like Grapple with the Past, Crop Signal, and Sudden Reclamation are all pieces of green card advantage that also fill your graveyard. However, if you have the colors for it, Wheels will also work to a far greater effect. Crawling Sensation is a nice token synergy that, you guessed it, fills your graveyard. Not to mention there are plenty of ramp cards that, let's hear it one more time, fill your graveyard. Harrow and Roiling Regrowth both put 2 cards in your graveyard and give you untapped lands. Milliken is a solid mana dork that mills you, and while it might be a bit of a build-around, Charm Pendant can do wonders as well. Now that we can see with some mild deck changes or just having the patience to wait for it, Threshold is easy enough to activate. So let's look at the second problem with this card, and that's keeping the value going, and luckily enough, you might already be well equipped for this. If you plan on having Hunting Grounds around for more than 1 turn, you're going to need an effect to keep drawing you creatures. These can vary from basic green card draw pieces like Guardian Project, Garruk's Uprising, or Pack Leader, and Soul of the Harvest, to more group hug cards like Gurapor Orrery, Howling Mine, and Font of Mythos, to my personal favorite, Evolutionary Leap, which lets you trade in mana dorks for something far more powerful. Now, let's try and think of an example. How about the Impervious Great Worm? Do you know what my favorite thing about my relationship with the Impervious Great Worm is? It's the freeness they bring of just honesty and open communication. It's very refreshing. Now that we have solved Hunting Grounds problems, let's talk about its suitable commanders, the most obvious being your Abzan graveyard boys like Carador and Nethroy, who already want to fill your graveyard and win with utility creatures. However, we're not just limited to graveyard strategies when using Hunting Grounds. Commanders like Morphon the Boundless and Jodah Archmage Eternal love massive mana value creatures and spells, and Hunting Grounds provides an alternative or additional way of getting them into play. In Bant, Rune of the Hidden Realm loves creatures with powerful ETBs, and using Hunting Grounds to put them in at instant speed, rapid fire like a machine gun adds for an extra surprise for your opponents. Not to mention Seath the Scaleless over here. Oh, wait, sorry, scratch that. Arment the Lustrious over here is a natural engine to keep Hunting Grounds churning out worms. Moving on, group hug commanders like Kineos and Tiro are also a viable option that allow you to lean into some of the group hug effects we mentioned before. Kineos will draw you cards to put into play with Hunting Grounds, and also enable your opponents to trigger it, all while Tiro presumably sits in a corner and watches. Finally, on our list, there's Captain Sisay. And you, by all means, are free to play her. She's very powerful. She can tutor up a plethora of over-the-top legendary creatures that you can then put into play with Hunting Grounds. However, I say you may feel free to play her because I most certainly won't be. No matter how many times I have asked her, begged her even, to reunite me with my impervious great worm, she refuses every time. Well, I have a message for her. Our love is eternal. Me and my impervious great worm will reach across 100 oceans to be together. We will crush 1,000 armies until we are together again. No, what are you doing? Don't play me out. My voice will be heard!